There's hundreds of dangerous car advice out there that destroy your engine's reliability and lifespan, and you're probably falling for them, costing you thousands in repairs. I'll reveal 17 car myths that slowly destroy your car. Some ruin your transmission, while others waste your money. At the end, I'll show you a myth so dangerous, it could kill you. Let's dive right in with an advice that's draining your wallet. Myth number 17, changing oil every 3,000 miles. A shocking 66% of all car owners believe that oil should be changed every 3,000 miles. There was a time when every manufacturer and mechanic recommended the 3,000-mile oil change. However, newer engines and synthetic oils are significantly more efficient. While changing conventional oil every 3,000 miles is no harm, doing so would be a waste of synthetic oil. Newer engines can go 7,500 and even 15,000 miles before you need to swap synthetic oil. It is important to check your owner's manual for the precise change interval. Remember that as cars age, you need to change the oil more. And if you do a lot of performance or city driving, you will need more frequent changes. A good rule of thumb is to change oil once a year, regardless of mileage. The 3,000-mile oil change is the zombie of car myths. It just won't die. Quick lube chains rely on high customer return rates, and nothing brings customers back like convincing them their engine will explode if they don't visit every 3 months. You're literally pouring money down the drain with premature oil change. Speaking of fluids that supposedly last forever, this next myth is even more expensive. Myth number 16, automatic transmission fluid is lifetime. You've probably heard automakers bragging about sealed for-life transmission, suggesting you'll never need to touch your transmission fluid again. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. When car companies say lifetime, they usually mean until your warranty runs out, around 100,000 miles, not forever. When a car is properly maintained, a transmission should last 100,000 to 200,000 miles. However, if you've fallen prey to this myth, your car likely won't last that long. Just like everything else in your car, transmission fluid gets old and dirty. That is why you should change it every 30,000 to 40,000 miles. However, some people believe that this will ruin the transmission. People often only change the transmission fluid after they start noticing problems. Changing the fluid when the transmission is already slipping won't solve the problem. A fluid flush at the right time will prolong the life of your transmission. However, if you have an old or high mileage car and you've never changed the transmission fluid, don't start now. The old dirty fluid might provide better friction than the new fluid, so changing it could spoil the transmission. The key takeaway is that regular transmission fluid changes will save your transmission. But if you have never done them, don't start when the car is too old. But if you think that's expensive, this cleaning myth will destroy your paint job. Myth number 15, washing your car with dish soap is fine. Did you know that preserving the paint on your car can increase its resale value by up to 20%? But if you follow myths like this, that will never happen. Even though dish soap can clean your car, it unfortunately cleans it too well. Dish soap is designed to remove tough grease. When used on a vehicle, it removes the protective wax coat and sealant. This sealant is what protects your car from the sun's UV ray. When this layer is stripped, the paint will begin to fade. Dish soap is also bad for plastics and rubber seal. Only use car shampoo and wax your car every 3 to 6 months. Also, use microfiber mitts to prevent scratches and swirl marks. Washing your car with dish soap might be cheap, but a new paint job isn't. Every wash with dish soap strips away protection your paint desperately needs. Now here's a myth that sounds helpful, but actually hides the real problem. Myth number 14, putting soap on a squealing belt. Myths are most dangerous when they look true, but conceal the real problem. Yes, soap, belt dressing, and WD-40 can stop your serpentine or drive belt from squealing. However, they don't solve the problem. A squealing serpentine belt is usually a sign of a worn belt, worn out pulley, or a weak tension. The noise might also be caused by fluid contamination. Stopping the sound might give the illusion that the car is fine, but you're just signing up for trouble. Plus, it can make it worse. Soap can dry out the rubber, which can cause cracking or permanent failure. What you should do instead is inspect the belt or have a mechanic look it over. If the belt is worn, you need to replace it. Otherwise, you might need to tighten the tension or realign the pulley. The longer you hide the problem by using soap, the more likely you'll need an expensive repair later. A slipping belt can overheat and lose grip, leaving you stranded on the side of the road. Trust me, this next myth would shock you. Myth number 13, you don't need antifreeze in hot climates. This myth can cost you over $1,000 in parts alone, all because of a confusing name. Everyone knows that antifreeze prevents cars from freezing in winter. However, not as many people know that it also prevents cars from overheating in summer. When you mix antifreeze with water, it becomes coolant. Depending on your car, you might need a 70-30 mix. While water can keep your car cool, it is not as effective as coolant. Water boils at 212, while a 50-50 mix of antifreeze and water boils at 265 degrees. Not using Leaking coolant can lead to a blown head gasket, damaged radiator, and water pump failure. Overheating can also cause the engine block to crack. Fixing this alone will cost over $2,000 and as much as $8,000. These high repair costs make this myth one of the most expensive. However, it still doesn't come close to the last myth on the list, so stick around for that. If you think running just water will save you money, think again. Now let's expose this expensive misconception that's been draining wallets for decades. Myth number 12, disconnecting the battery cable tests an alternator. Here is another myth based on ancient truth. Disconnecting the battery cable with the engine running could test the alternator. However, this isn't a conclusive test, and it is unnecessarily dangerous. For starters, if you disconnect the positive terminal instead of the negative, a power surge could fry your ECU. Getting this fixed could cost over $1,000. Secondly, even if the car stays on when you disconnect the negative terminal, it doesn't mean the alternator is fine. If the battery has enough charge, the car could still keep running for a while with a bad alternator. The right way to test the alternator is with a multimeter. Auto shops also offer free alternator testing. This will prevent you from destroying the ECU, fuses, and other sensors. If your car was made after the 1970s, it likely has a computer system. This makes the old cable disconnect test a terrible idea. Bad as this myth is, it's still better than the next one, especially if you drive a turbocharged car. Myth number 11, you don't need to warm up your car in winter. As expensive as the previous myth is, this one can cost you over 4 times as much. The idea that cars don't need to be warmed up in winter is an overcorrection that can ruin your engine. Back when cars had carburetors, you needed 10 to 15 minutes to get them warm enough to drive in winter, but modern engines are much more efficient. Now all you need is a minute for your engine to properly lubricate. However, just because you can drive your car after a few seconds doesn't mean it is warm enough. Avoid revving your engine for the first 5 minutes to give fluids more time to circulate. Pushing it too fast too soon can wreck your engine, especially if it's turbocharged. Fixing a damaged turbocharger can cost over $2,000. That's a ridiculous amount of money to waste because of a myth. Unfortunately, it's about to get worse. Cold starts are when the most engine wear happens, so waiting 30 to 60 seconds lets the oil reach vital engine part. If you're getting value from these reliability-destroying myths, now's the perfect time to hit that like button. We've got 10 more car myths that could save your engine's life, and you won't want to miss the number 1 myth that's probably killing your car right now. Myth number 10, premium fuel is better. Premium fuel has one key difference, a higher octane rating. Regular gas has an octane level of 87, while premium starts at 91 or higher. High-performance engines need higher octane fuel to prevent premature detonation or knock. But if your engine isn't designed for it, premium fuel won't give you extra power or efficiency. And that cleaner engine claim, it's just marketing. All gasoline, whether regular, mid-grade or premium, contains detergents to prevent carbon buildup. Premium fuel doesn't have special cleaning property. If your engine needs cleaning, a professional service, not a premium pump, is the solution. Oil companies can't legally claim that premium gas improves performance in engines designed for regular fuel, so they market it as a cleaner option instead. But think about it. If regular gas was dirty, wouldn't every old car on the road have clogged fuel lines? They don't. Only use the fuel recommended in your warranty. And if you think that myth was ridiculous, wait until you hear how people are literally throwing away money with this next misconception. Myth number 9, filling up gas in the morning saves money. Everybody knows that liquids are denser when cold. That is why people believe that filling up in the morning saves money. Sadly, this isn't remotely true, but even if it were, it wouldn't mean much. Gasoline expands at 0.069% per degree Fahrenheit, so a 30-degree change in temperature will result in 2.07% more gas. This yields an average annual saving of just $37. Nevertheless, this isn't the case because gas is stored underground, so the temperature is kept the same no matter the time of day. Besides that, gas pumps dispense fuel based on the fluid's temperature. That means any fluctuations in quantity are counted. So this myth is false. Even if it wasn't, the difference would be minimal. If you really want to save money on gas, avoid the next stupid myth. The difference in density from morning to afternoon would save you maybe a nickel per tank if the fuel was actually affected by air temperature, which it isn't. Now let's talk about something that's literally hurting your wallet every single year. Myth number 8, fuel additives clean your engine like new. Depending on who you ask, fuel additives are either the best or worst car performance enhancers. Myths like these that promise the moon make these products extremely polarizing. Fuel additives are designed to fulfill different functions, including removing carbon buildup along fuel supply line. By cleaning the engine, they also boost performance and fuel economy. Unfortunately, most additives don't live up to the hype. However, GM and other manufacturers have celebrated several brands like Techron Concentrate, but do they clean your engine like new? No, they do not. Besides that, you can get higher quality additives from the pump if you buy top-tier gas. Top-tier gas has the backing of every major car manufacturer and only costs 3 cents more per gallon than regular gas. If you want to give your engine a decent clean, use top-tier gas instead of commercial additives. It won't clean the engine as well as a mechanic, but it is a lot cheaper and ideal for low-mileage cars. The harsh reality is that there's no magic potion for your gas tank, just good driving habits and proper maintenance. You'd be very much surprised by this next myth. Myth number 7, all-wheel drive helps you stop faster in snow. This one fools a lot of people. AWD definitely helps you go in the snow. It sends power to all 4 wheels for better traction when accelerating, but when it's time to hit the brakes, AWD does absolutely nothing. Stopping power comes down to one thing: your tire, not your drivetrain, not your fancy bag. If you're running all-season tires on icy roads, AWD won't help you stop any faster than a basic front-wheel drive car. In fact, it might even hurt. AWD systems add weight, which can increase stopping distances. Winter tires, on the other hand, are game changers. They stay soft in cold temps and bite into snow and ice, dramatically shortening your stopping distance. So don't let AWD give you false confidence. It gets you going, sure, but when you're sliding toward that intersection, it's your tires doing the talking. People get false confidence from AWD, drive faster than conditions allow, and then discover physics doesn't care about marketing brochure. If that myth blew your mind, wait until you hear what people believe about this driving habit. Myth number 6, neutral coasting saves fuel. Shifting to neutral when going downhill feels clever, right? Wrong. This outdated practice is actually wasting fuel in modern cars. In today's fuel-injected vehicle, the engine computer cuts fuel almost completely when you're coasting in gear. But guess what happens in neutral? The engine has to use fuel to maintain idle. Plus, coasting in neutral is dangerous. You have less control in emergency situations, and it's actually illegal in many states. You're risking your safety and breaking the law for a technique that increases fuel consumption. Talk about a lose-lose-lose situation. This myth dates back to carbureted engines that continued consuming fuel at the same rate, regardless of whether you were accelerating or decelerating. In those days, shifting to neutral really could save gas. But modern electronic fuel injection systems are smarter. They recognize when your foot is off the gas and the wheels are turning the engine, called deceleration fuel cutoff or DFCO, and they respond by shutting off fuel injectors completely. Modern engines are built to handle this without any problems. Think that's bad? This next myth might be costing you big time. Myth number 5, topping off your tank gets you more gas. Logically speaking, the more gas you put in your tank, the more gas you get. However, this decision will cost you more than you think. The first reason is that when you put too much gas in, it can overflow into the evaporative emissions control system and ruin it. The EVAP's charcoal canister is tucked next to the fuel tank. When excess vapor or fuel gets into it, it will eventually go bad. Fixing the EVAP can cost as much as $1,000. Besides ruining this critical component, overfilling doesn't get you as much gas as you think. Some of that excess goes back into the gas nozzle. However, it still counts as sale. So you are paying for gas you didn't use. The third problem with overfilling is the environmental impact. Believing this myth is bad for the environment, your bank balance, and your car. Gas stations have vapor recovery systems specifically designed to catch those extra drops you're trying to force in. But if you think that's wasteful, wait until you see what this common highway habit is doing to your MPG. Myth number 4, cruise control always saves gas. Cruise control might keep your speed steady, but it's not the fuel-saving hero you think it. On perfectly flat highways, sure, it works great. But the moment you hit rolling terrain, that cruise control becomes a gas guzzler. Why? Because it's programmed to maintain speed at all costs, punching the throttle uphill when a human driver would naturally let the car slow slightly. A good driver who reads the road and anticipates terrain change will almost always beat cruise control for efficiency. Think of it like this. Cruise control is like a robot that only knows how to push harder. It doesn't understand the art of momentum. When approaching an uphill section, an experienced driver naturally builds a little momentum on the approach and then eases off the throttle slightly while climbing. Cruise control, however, notices the smallest drop in speed and responds by dumping fuel into the engine to compensate. This difference in driving style can lead to 5 to 10% better fuel economy in varied terrain. The one exception is adaptive cruise control systems in newer vehicles that can predict hills and adjust accordingly. Now let's shift gears from driving habit to this myth that's probably costing you right now. Myth number 3, a quick drive recharges a dead battery. It sounds logical. Start the engine, take a little spin, battery's good to go, right? Not quite. That myth might have held up in simpler time, but modern cars and modern batteries don't play like that. When you start your engine, your battery dumps a good chunk of energy just to get things moving. The alternator can recharge it, but only if the drive is long enough. Think 30 minutes or more at highway speed. Short trips, especially in traffic, barely top off the juice. Add headlight, AC, and infotainment to the mix. And now the alternator is juggling everything but the battery. A gradual discharge that eventually leaves you stranded. The fix? Take longer drives when you can, or better yet, use a proper battery charge, because hoping your 10-minute grocery run will revive a flat battery is like expecting a band-aid fix a broken leg. Your alternator is working overtime just to keep your accessories running. And speaking of things that will make mechanics laugh, this next one might be the most expensive mistake of all. Myth number 2, using thicker oil for high-mileage engines. Many people believe that once a car reaches 130,000 miles, you need to start using thicker oil. That is because as vehicles age, tolerances get wider, which leads to oil leak. Thick oil helps reduce those, or at least that was once the case. Older cars had loose tolerances, so you always had to upgrade to thicker oils when the engine reached 100,000 miles. However, modern cars have tighter tolerances. Only use the recommended oil as written on the cap. That said, switching between lower viscosity oils like 5W20 to 5W30 as your engine ages won't be a problem. However, going from thin to thick, like 0W16 to 20W50, could ruin your engine. Thicker oils are harder to start, use more fuel, and operate at higher temperatures. Eventually, it will overwork the oil pump and ruin your engine. A better alternative is to use the recommended oil and add an additive to stop leaks, like AT205. Keep in mind that 90% of engine wear happens at startup. Unless you have $4,000 for a new engine, stay away from this myth, especially if you're also guilty of the next one. Modern engines also have smaller oil passage and thicker oil struggles to flow through these, especially during cold start. And now, the number one car myth that's probably draining your wallet right now. Myth number 1, modern engines don't need a break-in period. A lot of people assume that with all the tech and precision in today's engine, break-in period are a thing of the past. And hey, it's true. Modern machining is miles ahead of what it was decades ago. But that doesn't mean your engine is ready to be redlined straight off the lot. Even with tighter tolerances, new engines still have microscopic imperfection. Piston rings need time to seat properly, and cylinder walls still need wear-in con to form a tight seal. Skip the break-in, and you risk poor compression, oil consumption, and reduced lifespan. That first 500 to 1,000 miles still matter. Manufacturers like Hyundai, Toyota, and Honda still give break-in instructions for a reason, because it works. So vary your RPMs, avoid full throttle, and lay off towing for a bit. Think of it like stretching before a workout. Skipping it won't kill you, but it's a dumb way to start something you want to last. A well-maintained engine can last over 200,000 miles. Keeping it running longer is far better for the planet than sending it to a scrapyard and building a new one. While some engine parts wear over time, many still need the exact lubrication recommended by the manufacturer. Braking in an engine isn't just about the pistons and rings. Your transmission, differential, and even brake pads benefit from a gentle start. All these components have fresh surfaces that need to mate properly under controlled conditions. Rush it, and you're setting yourself up for premature wear across multiple systems. Some drivers think flooring it cleans out a new engine. That's backwards thinking. What you're actually doing is creating excessive heat before proper oil film has established itself on moving parts. Heat is the enemy during break-in, and aggressive driving generates plenty of it. Here's what most people miss. Break-in isn't just mechanical, it's thermal too. Your engine needs to go through heat cycles gradually so metals can expand and contract properly. This seasoning process helps prevent warping and ensures gaskets seal correctly under varying temperatures. Modern synthetic oils actually make break-in more critical, not less. They're so slippery that rings can take longer to seat if you baby the engine too much. You need some load variation to create the friction necessary for proper seating, just not full throttle pulls. The financial side is simple. Dealers see plenty of engines with premature wear from owners who ignored break-in. Warranty claims spike when people treat new cars like rental cars. Those first few tanks of gas determine whether your engine runs strong at 150,000 miles or starts burning oil at 80,000. There you have it. Which one surprised you the most? Which one do you know already? Let me know in the comments below. Aside from car myths, there are maintenance mistakes that are costing you thousands. Click this video to save money. Until next time.